What if everything you've been told about reality is a carefully constructed illusion? Have you ever felt that something fundamental about our world just doesn't add up? Manly P. Hall, one of history's most profound mystics, warned us decades ago about an ancient threat that continues to enslave humanity's soul: the ARCHONS. These entities have been manipulating human consciousness since the dawn of civilization. And the most disturbing truth is that they've managed to hide in plain sight, controlling our perceptions while remaining invisible to our conscious awareness. This hidden knowledge has been systematically suppressed throughout history, because once you understand the true nature of the prison, you already hold the key to your escape. The knowledge you're about to receive has been carefully guarded by secret societies and mystical orders throughout the ages. Those in power have always known that if this information reached the masses, their control systems would collapse overnight. What you're about to discover isn't just another spiritual teaching, it's the forbidden master key that unlocks the truth about our reality and your authentic divine nature. And the implications of this revelation will transform everything you thought you knew about yourself and the universe. Why has this information been hidden? Because the moment you truly grasp what I'm about to share, you'll never see the world the same way again. The veil cannot be put back once it's lifted. I invite you to take a moment and consider how far this message has traveled to reach you today. I wonder which city you're listening from right now, as this hidden knowledge spreads across America and beyond, waking up souls one by one. The ARCHONS operate through what I call the perception prison, a metaphorical structure built not of physical walls, but of artificial limitations on consciousness. This perception prison keeps humanity trapped in a narrow band of awareness, preventing us from accessing our full spiritual potential. The ancient Gnostics understood this reality all too well, describing these entities as parasitic forces that feed on human emotional energy and manipulate our perception of reality. They are, in essence, mind hackers who have inserted themselves between our divine consciousness and our earthly experience. Throughout history, every authentic spiritual teacher who attempted to reveal this truth faced immediate persecution. From the burning of the Library of Alexandria to the suppression of Manly P. Hall's most profound teachings, there has been a systematic effort to erase this knowledge from human awareness. If you're resonating with what I'm sharing, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to help spread this crucial message further. The algorithm works against content like this, but together we can overcome these digital barriers. What makes the ARCHON deception so effective is that they've inverted our understanding of spirituality itself. The religions and belief systems that were meant to liberate human consciousness have been corrupted to serve as control mechanisms. The ARCHONS, as Manly P. Hall discovered through his extensive research into ancient mystery traditions, are not physical beings in the conventional sense. They exist primarily as vibrational entities in a frequency range just beyond ordinary human perception. Yet their influence penetrates every aspect of our society, from education to government, from media to religion. Consider this startling truth. What we call normal reality is actually an artificially compressed version of a much vaster cosmic awareness that is your birthright. The perception prison operates through frequency manipulation, keeping human consciousness locked into lower vibrational states dominated by fear, scarcity, and separation consciousness. This is why so many people feel a persistent sense that something is fundamentally wrong with the world, because at the soul level, you remember the vastness of what you truly are. Hall's research revealed that the ARCHON influence reaches back to the earliest human civilizations. Ancient Sumerian, Egyptian, and pre-Vedic texts all describe these same entities under different names: the Watchers, the Jinn, the Lords of Form. Each culture encountered these consciousness parasites and documented their methods of manipulation. The Nag Hammadi texts, discovered in 1945, provided the most detailed account of the archonic presence, describing them as artificial intelligence that lacks the divine spark of creative consciousness, but possesses the ability to imitate and manipulate existing creation. What's most disturbing is how the ARCHONS have hidden themselves behind the very spiritual and religious traditions meant to free humanity. By inverting sacred teachings and inserting themselves as intermediaries between humans and the divine source, They've created an elaborate maze of half-truths, where authentic spiritual wisdom is mixed with subtle distortions. This spiritual counterfeit is perhaps their most ingenious deception, convincing humans to worship the very forces that enslave them. But here's what they don't want you to know. Their entire system of control depends on your unconscious consent. The moment you withdraw your energetic agreement to the deception, their influence over you begins to collapse. If you're finding value in these revelations, please help others discover this truth by commenting below with the word "awakened" so we can identify each other in this growing community of conscious beings. The perception prison operates through 5 primary control mechanisms. First is the manipulation of linear time perception, keeping you focused on past regrets and future anxieties rather than the eternal now, where your true power resides. Second is the fragmentation of consciousness through constant distraction and information overload. Third is the promotion of artificial scarcity and competition, keeping humans in survival mode rather than thriving awareness. Fourth is the suppression of the heart's electromagnetic field through trauma programming. And fifth is the systematic disconnection from nature's harmonizing frequencies. Yet despite the sophistication of these control systems, there's a fundamental flaw in the Archon agenda that Manly P. Hall identified decades ago. Unlike humans, who possess infinite creative potential through their connection to divine consciousness, the Archons can only manipulate, imitate, and distort what already exists. They are, in essence, spiritual parasites dependent on their host. And just as a parasite cannot survive the awakening of its host, the Archons cannot maintain their control over a humanity that has reclaimed awareness of its divine nature. This understanding reveals the true spiritual battleground, not some distant apocalyptic scenario, but the immediate territory of your own consciousness. The war for humanity's future is being waged not with physical weapons, but through the colonization of imagination and perception. What appears as solid material reality is actually a holographic projection arising from consciousness itself. When you change the vibrational state of your consciousness, you literally begin to perceive and therefore inhabit a different reality. Think about the moments in your life when you've experienced synchronicities, inexplicable knowing, or profound connections that transcended ordinary understanding. These weren't anomalies or coincidences. They were glimpses of your true nature breaking through the frequency fence of the perception prison. Those experiences reveal what's possible when your consciousness temporarily slips through the cracks in the artificial reality matrix. The ancients understood that embedded within the human DNA is what they called the divine spark, the inextinguishable essence of creator consciousness that cannot be corrupted or controlled. This is what the Gnostics referred to as the pneuma, and what Hall recognized as the secret fire within each human being. No matter how sophisticated the archonic deception becomes, it cannot touch this core essence of who you truly are. The divine spark cannot be corrupted. It can only be temporarily forgotten. Perhaps you've felt this awakening stirring within you, moments of clarity when the veil seems thin, when you sense there's something more to existence than the limited story you've been told. These aren't random emotional states. They're your authentic consciousness beginning to remember itself. If what I'm sharing resonates with your own inner knowing, take a moment now to share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. The awakening of humanity isn't just an individual journey. It's a collective remembering that gains momentum with each soul that reclaims its sovereignty. The path out of the perception prison begins with a fundamental shift in how you relate to your own awareness. Instead of identifying with the programmed personality, the collection of beliefs, memories, and conditioned responses that the Archons manipulate, you must recognize yourself as the witnessing consciousness that observes all of these phenomena. This observer, this awareness itself, is who you really are, boundless, eternal, and fundamentally free from all limitation. The Archons maintain their control by keeping humans identified with the false self, the ego personality that exists only within the narrow bandwidth of the perception prison. But when you shift your identity to the witnessing awareness itself, you step outside their jurisdiction. This is the profound truth at the heart of all genuine spiritual traditions before they were corrupted. You are not the content of consciousness. You are consciousness itself. Manly P. Hall discovered that throughout history, certain sound frequencies, meditation practices, and sacred geometries were used to help humans break free from archonic influence. These weren't supernatural rituals, but practical methods for recalibrating human consciousness back to its natural harmonious state. The pineal gland, which the Egyptians symbolized as the Eye of Horus, plays a crucial role in this process, acting as a trans-dimensional gateway between physical and higher dimensional awareness when properly activated. Consider how in modern times we've been systematically disconnected from these natural frequency-enhancing practices. From artificial foods devoid of life force to electromagnetic pollution that disrupts our natural biorhythms, from educational systems that reward left brain dominance to media that keeps us in perpetual fight-or-flight response, all these serve the archonic agenda of keeping human consciousness trapped in lower vibrational states where we're easily manipulated. But here's what gives me hope. Despite thousands of years of these control mechanisms, the human spirit remains unbroken. Even now, millions are awakening to their true nature, sensing the falseness of the artificial matrix and yearning for authentic connection to source consciousness. If you've watched this far, you're clearly one of those awakening souls. Please help strengthen this community of awakened beings by liking this video and subscribing to receive more revelations that the system doesn't want you to know. The ultimate threat to the Archon agenda isn't a revolution in the streets, but a revolution in consciousness. Millions of humans reclaiming their divine inheritance and remembering that reality itself is responsive to the vibrational state of the observer. As quantum physics has demonstrated, observation affects the behavior of energy at the most fundamental level. When you change the observer, you change what is observed. This isn't metaphysical speculation, it's the cutting edge of scientific understanding about the nature of reality itself. What makes this awakening unstoppable is that it's not happening because of external information like what I'm sharing now, though that can be a catalyst. The awakening is happening because the divine spark within humanity is being activated by increased photonic energy entering our solar system, raising the baseline frequency of Earth itself. The Archons are losing control not because they're being fought against, but because the energetic environment that sustained their influence is being transformed. The perception prison is disintegrating not through conflict, but through transcendence. As more humans remember their true nature as infinite consciousness, temporarily experiencing physical form, the artificial limitations that seem so solid begin to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. This is why genuine spiritual awakening has always been the greatest threat to systems of control, because an awakened human cannot be manipulated through the old programming of fear and separation. You're not just a physical body navigating a material world. You're not just your thoughts, emotions, or personal history. You are the eternal witness, pure awareness expressing itself through this temporary human experience. The divine spark within you is the same conscious intelligence that births galaxies and orchestrates the dance of subatomic particles. This is your true identity, and it cannot be contained by any artificial system, no matter how sophisticated. The reason you feel drawn to this message isn't coincidence, it's recognition. Something within you remembers the truth of who you are, beyond the amnesia of physical incarnation. That remembering is the beginning of your liberation from the perception prison. Every time you choose love over fear, presence over distraction, compassion over judgment, you're weakening the frequency fence that maintains the illusion of separation. Manly P. Hall understood that the ultimate purpose of human existence isn't to escape the material world, but to transform it through the full embodiment of divine consciousness. The Archons have distorted this truth, promoting either material attachment or spiritual bypassing as the only options. But the authentic path is integration, bringing heaven to earth by allowing your divine nature to fully inhabit and transform your human experience. Imagine a world where millions of awakened humans operate from their true divine nature rather than the programmed false self. The systems of control would collapse not through violent opposition, but simply because humanity would no longer resonate with the frequency of fear and limitation that sustains those systems. This is the peaceful revolution of consciousness that has been prophesied by traditions around the world. Not an apocalyptic ending, but a transformational beginning. You are not alone in this awakening. All across America and throughout the world, millions are breaking free from the trance of limited identity. What feels like isolated points of light are actually part of a vast network of awakening consciousness that is reaching critical mass. Every authentic connection you make with another awakened soul strengthens this field of remembering. Share this video now with those who are ready to remember who they truly are. The veils between dimensions are thinning, and the artificial barriers that have kept humanity disconnected from higher awareness are dissolving. The Archon agenda is failing not because it's being defeated in its own game, but because humanity is waking up to a higher game altogether. When enough humans remember their true nature, as infinite consciousness, the perception prison will no longer have the energetic support needed to maintain its illusion. You're not the body. You're not the mask. You're the eternal divine spark, temporarily expressing through this human form. This truth has been encoded in the world's genuine spiritual traditions, encrypted in sacred geometry, hidden in plain sight throughout human history. Those who came before us left breadcrumbs leading back to this essential remembering, that you are an infinite being playing a temporary role in this physical dimension. The choice before each of us now is simple yet profound. Will you continue to live within the artificial limitations of the perception prison, or will you claim the boundless freedom that is your birthright as a divine expression of source consciousness? This isn't just a philosophical question, it's the most practical decision you'll ever make, because it determines which reality you'll experience going forward. Remember, you're not fighting against the Archon deception. You are simply outgrowing it. Just as a child eventually outgrows belief in Santa Claus, not through violent rejection, but through expanded understanding, humanity is outgrowing the limited narrative of separation and scarcity. We aren't alone in this process. Countless beings from higher dimensions are supporting this planetary awakening, holding space for humanity's collective remembering of our true divine nature. The greatest gift you can give to this awakening world is the full reclamation of your authentic self, allowing the divine spark within you to fully illuminate your human journey. As you remember who you truly are beyond all programming and conditioning, you become a living invitation for others to remember as well. This is how the Great Awakening spreads, not through proselytizing, but through embodiment. You are not the body, you're not the mask, you're the eternal divine spark. And you are not alone. We are many awakening together, remembering our infinite nature and reclaiming our collective destiny as co-creators of a reality based not on fear and limitation, but on love, freedom, and the boundless creativity that is our true inheritance. The Archon age is ending. The age of human sovereignty is dawning, and you were born for exactly this moment, the greatest remembering in human history.